You guys really don't know when it's good or bad when it comes right down to it. You really don't know because you don't know what we're trying to do. You guys don't look at the films. You don't know what happened. You really don't know. You think you know, but you don't know, and you never will.
To come home because I have a very special love.
The media public doesn't know. You guys don't know. Sometimes it won't. I can tell you it won't be good, and you'll see it won't be good. Sometimes you'll think it's good, and it isn't any good. Sometimes you'll think it's bad, and it was pretty darn good. Sometimes you'll think it's bad, and it was bad. But basically, you really don't know.
We are back. Beta Boys Weekly. Week 3 is coming up next week. I guess we better start with week 2 first, huh? Packers get it done 27-10 over the Chicago Bears. Schmity moves to 2-0 in his predictions. You're up to 1-1 there, Dad. I'm noticing right off the bat here you got an interesting hairstyle going on, as is our quarterback, I noticed as well. What's the story behind your hairpiece there?
Well, I got the African necklace. It's not quite South American. The quarterback's always doing something with his hair. I'm not sure what's going on. I didn't get the peyote pipe or the, ayahuasca, but I do have the spotted cow for hallucinogenic purposes.
That's pretty good for a Wisconsinite there.
And I'm kind of on a journey of self-exploration to learn how to love myself and so that I can unconditionally love others. I came across this thing in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that everyone who believes in him shall have eternal life. And I was pretty good unconditional love, so I don't really need the hallucinogenics and the hair stuff but anyway, if we need to, we can go to the movie guy. What was the guy that he came in looking like? The movie?
Oh, yeah. Nicolas Cage. You got your Nicolas Cage. Oh, my goodness.
Nicolas Cage outfit. So we got it all going. But anyway, we got a victory. So whatever it takes, 220, 221, we're going to go with it. God love him.
Oh, my goodness. Well, Schmity, you've got no shirt as usual.
Yes.
I got to develop my own distinctive look here, I guess. I feel like I'm letting the rest of the group down here.
Well, we wanted to come right away with some good stuff to lead off after a victory here. We got a lot to be proud of, so let's dive right into it.
Yeah, well, Schmity was the voice of reason last week. He was keeping us under control and told us to relax and so forth. And what do you have to say after seeing what transpired here yesterday evening?
Simply put, we took care of business, right? We took care of business. It was pretty steady other than the first quarter. Everyone got a little worked up, and rightfully so. I don't know what it's going to take for our defense to show up for the first drive of a game. If we clean that up, we're very happy with the performance. The only thing that every time I see that guy out there, I want to just absolutely bounce off the walls. Aaron Rodgers in our special teams. I'm going to have an absolute meltdown. He is going to cost us a game in December or January, and we're all going to have sad faces. We cannot have this guy have such an important role on our team. That punt returning spot, kick returning, he's not the guy. We got to find something else. But other than that, a great win. There's a lot of love. Rodgers and Aaron Jones walking off the field together, hugging and kissing. That's what we like to see. That's the Green Bay Packers.
That's what we like to see. Okay. Well, to each their own, I guess, on that front. Do you have another candidate you'd like to offer up in who you would rather see back there catching punts?
Randall Cobb, any of the other rookies. I mean, Dobbs, one of these wide receivers. I'm sure we have someone in the practice squad. This guy just isn't it, and he doesn't fit in the locker room. Rodgers made that comment. Someone asked him, how's Aaron Rodgers fitting into the offense? And Aaron says, he's returning punts for us, and then gave him the move on to the next question, please. And that was it. That's a very telling sign. This guy isn't it. He doesn't perform well on the field, and maybe it's not all entirely his fault. He's getting a lot of external, and now it appears to be internal pressure as well. It's a tough look on him if you're not getting buy-in from the fans, and then also from the 4-time MVP.
Okay, I didn't realize I was going to have to do this, but Schmity, take a sip of wine, take a deep breath, calm down. You're going to be okay. Amari Rodgers actually returned a punt for about 50. What are you so upset with Amari Rodgers? What did he do wrong the other day?
He fumbled the ball, Gar. We can't have that.
Out of bounds. It went out of bounds. These things happen. He actually returned a kick to the 26.
No,
That's pretty good. We got a 15-yard punt return. He'll be all right. I think it's okay, but you're entitled to your own opinion.
Respectfully, I can't wait. We'll talk week 13, 14, and your optimism will change.
Okay, now we need to correct something else. A little housekeeping here on the predictions. We had predictions for the game outcome, but there were other predictions made, like who was going to play. And Schmity was on record as saying that Bakhtiari and Jenkins and Lazard weren't going to play. I said they were all three going to play, so I got 2 of the 3 correct. So
just 2 out of 3 ain't bad, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Meatloaf. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So just so we get the record straight there. Now, it was a good game. We got the job done. A few rough edges. We need to get better this week. Rodgers needs to keep improving. But, I think overall pretty good stuff. I didn't like the fact that the center snapped the ball into the wide receiver when he was running across the formation. That was problematic. And then he snapped one. What was the other? Well, Rodgers made the wrong footwork and they had a fumble. And that game would have been 31, whatever, to 10, and they would have put it away. So we got to clean some of that up. But otherwise, improved performance.
Well, we'll get to some negative things and so forth, and you guys let us get a taste of what you're feeling that way already right off the start here. But if 2 out of 3 ain't bad, I think 25 or 23 out of 28 certainly ain't bad, and that is what Aaron brings his record against the Bears all time to. He had the big proclamation last year that he owns Chicago, and this year, this first game, of course, in Green Bay at Lambeau Field, but it seems to be ringing true still that he does indeed own Chicago. With that said, the Bears don't seem to be exactly the cream of the crop in the NFL this year. What do you guys take away from this performance? Obviously, we got the train rolling in the right direction after the hiccup week 1. But what do you guys take away in terms of considering who we were playing?
Go ahead, Schmity.
The Bears were going to win 5 or 6 games this year. So this was a must-win game. It was a game that we were all expecting to win. As far as the Bears and their outlook, I don't think that we need to put much stock into how important. There wasn't much importance we need to place on this game. It was just we had to get through it and move on to the next one. Look at Tampa Bay, and I think we did that, and we're on pace for where we need to be right now at this point in the season.
I find it interesting that the Bears beat the 49ers the week before with a little defense, some bad weather, a couple big foot plays from the quarterback. I thought one of the interesting things to note was Quay Walker running down the quarterback, who runs a 4.4, weighs 225 pounds, and stopping him just short of the goal line, which was a key play in the game. That game could have got a little bit uncomfortable toward the end there. So nice to see our rookies stepping up. The NFL's crazy when you think about it. What does that first game say about Trey Lance? How lucky are the 49ers that Lance gets a season-ending injury, and now they got a competent quarterback who isn't green behind the ears, wet behind the ears, and green as grass. So all of a sudden, a week goes by and things look a lot different. And in some regard, the natural order of the universe has been restored. If we can get the Vikings to take an L, we'll be right back to ground zero.
Well, none of us were too pleased with Joe Barry's defense after the performance against the Vikings. Turned the ship around a little bit for sure this week. The Bears only attempted 11 passes. That doesn't exactly speak bodes of confidence for their quarterback. When you're only willing to drop back 11 times in a game script, that kind of dictated that they should be throwing the football. That said, they ran the ball for 180 yards against us. Do you have any worries about the rush defense? We'll start with Schmity.
That all came majorly in that one possession, if I believe, with Montgomery. I think he had almost 70 yards on the ground, right, in just that one drive. So I don't want to place too much worry with our run defense. Yes, it is concerning, but as Gar stated, having a linebacker in Quay Walker, I think he only gets better, and he's surely going to help us shore up that run defense. Campbell is not one to miss many tackles, so I think it all comes together very, very soon.
I agree with Schmity in that drive in the fourth quarter, if I remember right, where they ran right down the field and then got stopped on the goal line. Kenny Clark was off the field for the majority of that drive. I noticed. I don't know if they were just resting him to keep him fresh for the whole season or what, but it was quizzical that they left him out of there. And then when they got down in the red zone, they put him back in. So I think they were resting some of their linemen. But yeah, that's, those are the things we want to see. We want to see that killer instinct when you're ahead, 24-10, and you 24-10 and you don't score in the second half or the whole third quarter. Now you give them a chance to get back in the game. We had the fumble down deep and we didn't score. So I think Rodgers said it well. There's some things to clean up. It was good enough for this week, won't be good enough next week. So they take their game up to another level and finish the way they need to, then maybe they'll have a chance at Tampa Bay. But makes everything interesting going into week 3.
Well, we were all clamoring for more touches for Aaron Jones last week, and they delivered on that to a large extent. He got 18 touches this week, which is more in the realm of reasonability there. He had 15 attempts on the ground, 138 yards, 8.8 yards per carry, torched the Bears that way. Had another 3 catches, 38 yards, had a touchdown through the air and on the ground as well. He looked like the best player on the field for us, in my opinion. And with the absence of Davante Adams, it seems like we really need to lean on him, maybe even more so than we have done in past years. The data kind of showed in the past years when Davante was out that Aaron Jones got leaned on a lot historically, and we won a lot of those games with Davante out, if you remember. It's kind of nice in the regular season for us to have A.J. Dillon to bear the brunt of some of the load and hopefully keep Aaron healthy. But we were talking a little bit watching the game last night, Dad. To both of our eyes, it appeared that Aaron Jones is just so far superior to A.J. Dillon. It's nice to have Dillon. It's great that he's there. Are you in agreement with that feeling, Schmity?
I do actually 100% agree with that. It's so nice to have A.J. Dillon to interchange with our run game, but you want Aaron Jones touching the ball, and it was evident last night just how explosive he is for being no more than 190 pounds soaking wet. I think Aaron Rodgers stated that last night. I think 185 is what he's soaking wet. The guy is a game changer. He is so elusive. It seems like the first guy on defense to touch him isn't the one that brings him down. He's fantastic, and we are going to rely on him heavily, and we're going to need to. Watching the offense last night, that is the balance that we're going to need without Davante. This is the new offense, and they did such a great job. I commend Aaron. I commend Matt LaFleur. They did a great job with the play call. They put the ball in our best player's hand, in Aaron Jones, and we ran away with a win last night. So good on the Packers for making sure that Aaron Jones was the focal point of our offense.
You ready?
I'm ready for you.
This reaffirms my rant. that how in the world can you go into Minnesota without the game plan to let your premier star touch the ball? So it's all over with now. The only thing we got to do, however, though, you put together a little clip of my rant and you cut some of the important information out of a few of those statements. I think we have to issue an apology to the Donatel family because the rant started off with an out of context statement about Ed Donatel couldn't coordinate his way out of a wet paper bag. That's not the context that the statement was made in. He was a coordinator for the Packers from 2000 to 2003 or 4. I looked it up before the program. And he had a kind of a lukewarm career there. Then he went to Atlanta, and then he spent 13 years being demoted to being a defensive backs and secondary coach. He coached the last 3 years in Denver to a sub 500 team. So I partly apologize to Ed Donatel, but to go into that game without a plan to make Aaron Jones stress that defense was tantamount to malpractice. Anyway, just cleaning up a few items from last week.
Yeah.
We're
Did
in
you see
good
that we had a
shape now.
comment down in the comment section about that?
Well, I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, someone was asked. They said, I thought Ed Donatel was the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos, who had a great defense last year. Like, I don't understand the comment there, and I had to educated them on his history with the Packers and so forth, and explain the resentment and the ire there, I guess. But no, I'm glad that you added some clarification there. He has had a decent career, but it was just a frustrating event. I thought you were rolling pretty well on that clip there. I know we took some of the context out. YouTube's got us on the time restriction for that short video, but people were enjoying that content quite a bit. Got
Well, whatever I can do, it's a small price to pay, whatever I can do to cheer up the masses. But the point is, you're absolutely right. I've heard a lot of people conjecturing that Aaron Jones would be gone at the end of this year because of the big cap number that he has. And I will just go on record right now. They better figure a way to restructure that contract. He's our most dynamic player. It isn't close. I think Dylan maybe will be, more effective and late in the season on a sloppy field. It just, I don't want to run Dylan down too much, but it doesn't look like he packs a punch in there the way Aaron Jones almost looks like he packs more of a punch when he goes through there. I'd rather see him running on the goal line sometimes than Dylan, but I'm sure Dylan will have better games. He'll raise his game up there, but boy, Aaron Jones is their special. I want to see him doing things like what Randall Cobb did last night when they had him come out of the backfield on a pattern over the middle. Get that ball to Aaron Jones, a dynamic guy with the speed to turn that in from a 15-yard play into a 50-yard play. And I think we will see some of that. We don't need to bring Randall Cobb into the backfield to run that pattern. We just let Jonesy run it.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit like Schmity told us last week. We can calm down on that. If they're going to match up a linebacker on Randall Cobb, I will take that matchup every day of the week. He's just going to beat him on that and that sort of route. Now, could we keep a running back in there and be effective? Maybe that's fine too. But
Jonesy will beat the linebacker every day of the week too.
I don't get too riled up. Schmitty, what were your thoughts there?
Yeah, no, I was just calling back to when the Packers played the Chiefs last year. We used Aaron Jones in 5 wide sets, right? And we lined Aaron Jones out on the sideline outside the numbers, and he took care of business. I mean, he was maybe one of the only reasons why we were as successful as we were. And so Aaron Jones can easily shoulder passing down responsibilities, and we need to continue to get him the ball. That Randall Cobb route last night, that little Texas route, that was some hot stuff. That's the stuff I love to see. It reminded me of 6-7 years ago. So it's nice to go back and look in the history books and know that old 18 still has it.
Now, Schmitty, are you in favor of a 5-wide set like that with Aaron Jones out there wide? Is that something you like to see?
I think if it warrants, if the defense is going to go man, right, and put a linebacker on Aaron Jones, I like my chances. I'm sure we all do, right? Aaron Jones against a linebacker, give it to me every day of the week.
Yeah, now, that was a little bit of a loaded question. I was setting you up. Schmitty, quit playing me in Madden permanently because I went into a 5-wide set. Not like every play of the game, not anything crazy like that. Just in a normal situation, he couldn't stand the fact that it was first down. And then immediately following that, he was lauding the Packers going into a 5-wide set last year. So I just had to bring that to everyone's attention. He still hasn't played me in Madden since. We have a little unfinished business to settle there as far as I'm concerned. But now that you're, in favor of the 5-wide set, I'm a little bit disappointed. I thought maybe you'd have a principled stance there, just universally against it. But you've shown your true colors. And sort of in response to that, I guess I have a question for my dad. This character that we have on the podcast with us is sort of a questionable guy, as you can see by his attire, but also he's a Cubs fan and a Packers fan. Is that something that should be allowed, or this is pretty troubling to me?
Well, I'm okay with it. Baseball is a necessary distraction before football season, and we've made it to the football season now. So for those of us who are Twins fans and Packer fans and even Brewer fans, good riddance to the baseball season. It's a pitiful excuse for a sport, but it occupies our time while we need to kill time before the football season. So Schmity gets a pass on that. And
giving him a pass.
Cubs got their World Series, so you should be satisfied. Now they're good for another 100 years. So
everyone's fine. The Cubs will. Good. The Cubs are not threatening to anyone anymore. Just let us. We got our World Series, and we won't bother anyone. The Brewers can win the pennant for the next 10 seasons, for all I care.
Well, there's a bit of an elephant in the room here, guys, that we've been kind of avoiding the question that I'm sure everyone has been thinking of since seeing the game last night. And what's really, it kept me up a little bit last night, in fact. And the question is, can we win a Super Bowl with a guy who has a haircut like this?
Yes. Yes, you can. The guy could shave his head bald, and I don't care what fucking haircut he has. He's the man. He's a 4-time MVP, Griffey. He can color his hair pink, blue, and green one day to the next. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When you have the arm talent of number 12, you can do whatever you please. If he wants to dress up like Woody Harrelson, or he wants to dress up like Nick Cage and Con Air, be my guest. Be my guest.
Well, let me ask you a follow-up question. Has there been a quarterback with such a statement that has gotten it done? I guess Patrick Mahomes has a little bit of a new age haircut. Jim McMahon had some interesting things going on, but I was kind of racking my brain. I couldn't come up with someone who had gotten it done.
I don't believe, now that you say it, it's all what we're willing to put up with, right? I mean, we've had Aaron Rodgers for under center for 14, 15 seasons now. I think we give him a pass. Maybe the rest of the country doesn't give him a pass, but we sure do, and I'm okay with that.
Very accepting of you.
I can't imagining what you're going to do with your hair and coming up with that. It just kind of defies my ability to contemplate the whole thing. You got a lot of time on your hands to think of yourself in such a way that hairdo comes forth. But hey, whatever it takes to get the job done, I guess it's okay. We got tattoos, we got the hair, we got the Texas tea, the hallucinogenics. It's a bit quizzical, it's a bit odd. It sure isn't the Bart Starr way. It's not the Lombardi way, I don't think, but I do like the way Aaron talks when he talks about his teammates. I do like the way he gives credit to Jonesy and says he's going to bring the young guys along. So I guess I'll just take my daughter's hair piece out of my head and deal with it and live with all of the nonsense. But I never thought we were going to have a quarterback who looked like Scooby-Doo.
Well, after last week, we were kind of lauding the performance of Davante Adams week 1 for the Oakland Raiders. And this week he came out 2 receptions, 12 yards, did find the end zone. But maybe we were a little quick to jump on the bandwagon as saying that you're case for concern in his camp was unwarranted. It looked like this week there was plenty of room for concern. Interesting statistic I came across for him. He had like a 46% target share of the shares of the targets in week 1 for the for the Vegas Raiders there. And in week 2, he was under 17%. In the last 2 years as a Green Bay Packer, not one game did he have below a 20% target share. So they locked him up pretty well there, and he didn't get as many targets as you would have expected after the 17 targets he posted in week 1. Is there a cause for concern for him individually, do you think, in Vegas, Schmity?
I don't think so. When you're that good, right? There's going to be, you might be taken out of the game plan, and defenses are putting so much emphasis on keeping him checked that his stats might not be very good, but he's doing his job when the defense is taking a safety to go over the top of him every play, right? Like, so I don't want to get too worked up about 2 receptions, 12 yards. It is concerning. You want to get him the ball because he is that good. It seemed like even when teams would scheme against us last year and even in the prior, Rodger still found the way to get him the ball. So I think Derek Carr, there's going to be a learning opportunity, and maybe he'll see some things in film that I'll be able to pick and be like, oh, yes, like Davante was open there. He might have looked covered, but if you remember what Rodgers kept alluding to and would say on Pat McAfee's show, Davante's usually always open. They might be, running thigh for thigh, but Davante is always open. And I think Derek will learn that, and we'll see some of that production increase here.
Cautionary tale, Greg Jennings. I'm just saying, we'll keep an eye on it. What would Greg Jennings say?
Davante
What would GJ say? And cautionary tale too. When you think about our signing of David Bakhtiari at age 30 now to a huge contract, very concerned that he has a chronic condition there and will never play out that contract and will be a huge burden on the salary cap. We'll see what happens. I hope I'm wrong. Interesting article by Pete Doherty in the Milwaukee Journal this week about predicting that the tackle will be released this spring after the season to alleviate that huge cap number. And that's the cautionary tale with Davante Adams, 29 going on 30, big, huge contract. At the end of that contract, they may rue the day that they signed that one, but time will tell. We shall see. I just have a feeling that Davante did not realize, a la vis-a-vis Greg Jennings, what it's like to play with a true Hall of Fame quarterback. And he thinks that his buddy, Derek Carr, is in the same league with Aaron Rodgers. He may be in for a rude awakening. How many teams that start 0-2 make the playoffs? I believe it's 11%, gentlemen. Good luck, Vegas. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, Davante. It's been real while we had it, but you made your choice. And we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, well, the receiving core for the Packers has been not under fire, but we've had expectations over previous years with the greatness we've seen from Davante. Going back to the Super Bowl years, we had a stacked receiving core, and this year, more of a question mark. We saw a nice game from Sammy Watkins last night.
Go, Sammy, go!
We saw Christian Watson had the little issue, like you mentioned and alluded to, with running into the snap. I don't know if that was on the center. I don't know if that was on Rodgers. I don't know if that
was on the
Watson.
Center.
Some combination therein. Oh, he said?
In his press conference, said he snapped it on 1, not on 2. Josh just had a brain fart. Direct quote from Aaron Rodgers. So I got the inside scoop for you.
Okay, we appreciate that.
Boo-boo. Yeah, I'm here for you.
In terms of questionable receiving cores, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who we play next week, might be even in a worse situation than we are. They had this past week Chris Godwin out, suffering a hamstring injury after he came back pretty early from his ACL injury last year, and kind of maybe sort of a compensation injury there. They had Julio Jones out this previous week. Russell Gage is the only one who looks like he's going to be good to go for sure in this upcoming week against us. And then additionally, Mike Evans suspended for 1 game, so we won't have to worry about him next week. They're in a little bit rough shape out there, but despite that, ESPN's Football Power Index is giving them a 60% chance to beat us next week. You guys think that's a bit strong? What are your feelings there as we head into Tampa Bay?
Go ahead, Gar.
Oh, gosh, I was going to listen to you predict a loss for the Packers and then think about what I was going to say.
I can surely do that.
I would. Well, go ahead. Why don't you
Okay.
do that? Give me a little time to ponder myself here.
Of course. So yes, Griffey. I mean, they aren't going to have the weapons outside in the Bucs, right? So it's a game. At least if you're a Packers fan, you're looking at it. Well, they don't have these weapons, so you immediately go to, all right, we're going to win. It's going to be a win for us. We don't know what necessarily it's going to look like, but our defense should be able to hold them, keep them within 3 scores, right? They can score 3 times, and we'll find a way to win the game. I like to do this a lot when I'm gambling, and I'm not a very good gambler. But when you feel so strongly about something, about what the outcome's going to be, what do? You zigzag yourself. You go with the opposite, right? So my prediction is that Tampa Bay will end up winning on Sunday 24-23. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we fall to 1-2.
I don't know. Figure out how you got there.
He said that all his intuition and
zigzagging.
everything he had to his feel about it told him one thing, and he's been burned by betting based on intuition and feel. So he now doubts himself so heavily that he does the opposite of whatever he thinks is going to happen, in what logic dictates as far as he's concerned. So that's how
when
he
you
got
feel
there.
this strongly, Gar, when you think the Packers, there is absolutely no chance the Packers could lose on Sunday because of all the issues that are facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do they end up doing? They end up beating the Packers, and we're very sad until the following Sunday. And so I think that's what's going to happen. All I want, though, is our defense to show out. Please keep them within under 24. Tom Brady, that noodle arm, I swear to God, if our 3 cornerbacks, the guys that we pay, we put so much stock into, if they can't keep the wide receivers of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in check, we're going to have an issue next week on Packers Corner.
Okay, so good stuff, Schmity. I can relate to what you're saying because I never in a million years thought the Packers were going to lose to the Niners last year in the playoffs. I had a very strong feeling they were going to come up with a good performance against the Vikings to start off the year, given their pitiful performance in the prior game in the playoffs. So I think I get what you're saying about zigzagging, but I could never bring myself to do it. I was thinking before we went on that I was going to say Packers 24 and Brady's team, who are they? Tampa Bay Buccaneers 23, just the opposite of you. So I think I'm going to stick with that. I don't know why, other than I think that Rodgers is going to play his best game of the year to date. I think he has a little elevated impetus and motivation with Tom Brady. He's never lost to Brady in the golf challenge. Always makes a key putt on the 18th hole. So I think you may see that key play, and you're going to see a Mason Crosby field goal late to lift the Packers to victory. And my heart might not be in it, but I'm going with that prediction.
Touchdowns for your second favorite team here. Touchdowns, Eagles. We just had to rub a little salt in the wound for our
Jalen
Minnesota
Hurt
friends
or
there. Yeah, Jalen Hurts to Quez Watkins.
They go 14-0. Oh my goodness.
14 rip.
well, the
Yeah.
Vikings are famous for not playing well outdoors, not playing well on Monday night, not playing well under the bright lights. So we shall see what happens. Kirk Cousins is going to make a little comeback, but sounds like a good start for our boys. They're throwing any batteries on the field or anything yet at the Vikings, or how's that part going?
I haven't seen the fans get too out of control there so far, but I've been pretty locked in on our Packers discussion here, of course. So, well, with that said, I guess we'll have to see how these predictions come to play out next week. You know what? I haven't made a prediction in these first couple weeks. I've been
What's
asking all
going
the
on?
questions. Yeah, I guess I'm letting everyone down.
gotta
I'll have to
weigh
start
in.
weighing in as well. I'm going with the Packers this week. Are you kidding me? Tom Brady, he's maybe got a more orthodox haircut than our quarterback, but that guy has been propped up by competent defenses when they've dragged him across the finish line about 7 different times to win Super Bowls. It's pretty crazy that he's been lucky so consistently and to win that many Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers, much better guy, much better quarterback. Heart and soul of our team in Green Bay here, and he gets it done over Tampa Bay, who, you know, it's time to end things for Tom here. He's 45 years old. It's time for him to fall off a cliff, and I'm ready to see that happen. Hopefully it starts Sunday and kind of precipitates through the rest of the season. I'm ready to be done with him.
Let me just quickly add as we wrap up that I watched the New Orleans game, and it was the most brutal NFL football game to watch. It was 3-3 late into the fourth quarter. In order to get Brady over the line, the NFL officials absolutely fell all over themselves to call pitiful holding calls and defensive interference calls on the last drive there to get Brady over the line and get him a touchdown. It was unforgivable nonsense from the referees, and hopefully they're going to get chastised by the league and tell them to play it straight up. Brady's a big boy. He doesn't need any more help. He's got all those rings. His wife is mad at him and he's a little grumpy, but that doesn't mean the refs need to throw laundry all over the field to help him out. So come on, Pack. Let's play it even up and get the job done. Brady's struggling, and let's keep it that way.
I love it. We'll meet back here in 1 week's time to celebrate the victory. Schmity doesn't get to partake. But no, thanks you guys for joining us here. Good luck the rest of the week with the hair clips and so forth and your assortment there that way, Dad. Schmity, maybe you can find a shirt by next week, and we'll reconvene. Take care, boys.
See you guys.
Go Pack. And his father shoveled horse shit all the days. When the lad was very young, they found a diamond in the dung, and they sent him off to college just to play. Hail, hail, hail to Master Beta, lift your thunder mugs on high, and we'll drink another glass to the biggest horse's ass in the brotherhood of Beta Theta Chi. Go Beta boys!